for next year.
Wayne's outside.
There
I was wondering if you were coming.
Me too. Been in a gut.
It's right.
It is 5 o'clock, we're gonna call this meeting to order and discuss.
All right, well, where we're at with this is I presented pretty much a few different scenarios on Monday. And what I'm looking at this point from is the direction as to how you're gonna go in terms of what the plans are regarding what we're gonna be able to spend.
Don't believe the first number. Roughly, how much are we gonna get any increase tax-wise?
We believe we are, but we don't have a firm number.
Well, I mean, do we have a kind of estimate?
An estimate that would, that would give us enough for the cost of living and the increased healthcare.
Give us both, give us both, cover both of them?
If we get,
We feel pretty confident about that the digest will go up this year.
that's good news. We gotta talk to Catherine. She seems real
Yeah, I did too.
positive on
Yeah.
that.
How much in dollars?
Well, nobody wants to say that number because we don't have an absolute, because she has to go through all of the next 45 days to see, what happens there.
On appeal?
Yeah.
But if it comes out.
I'll say this, what we looked at, if half of it goes back in appeals, we'll still be okay. So that's the conservative number we took, so I feel pretty good with that.
Honestly, I can sit here and say yeah, no, or nay, or whatever, without knowing numbers. If you need to call us one at a time, if you don't want to broadcast it on the.
Well, it'll cover the amount that we're asking for, so that gives you the
We'll put it
idea.
this way. If we got the money, yes. If we ain't got the money, no.
Well, it's about 440,000, and we divided that by half, that gives us more than 200. We're looking at 175, so we have a cushion there.
So we should be fine.
I think so. I would say otherwise.
What do you think?
this is totally different. I mean, before we've always had what last year's budget was, what this year's proposal is, and how much the increase was to decide it on the same paper. And then whether or not, you know, we wanted to do it or do we want any cushion whatsoever, just in case something come up.
Well, I'm telling you, no cushion, little bit of cushion, it don't matter. I don't.
Well,
Two things if we get high. Two things but fall, if we get high for what? Y'all got the figure, we'll still be okay, right?
But we should get more than that.
Right, exactly.
But we, you know, we just go and have to see what.
Yeah, well, I wanted to be extra conservative, so
Right.
we're actually looking at needing less than half of what the estimate is now.
And
And
then,
I don't think half of, I mean, I don't know, but I mean, so we assume half of it will be returned in appeals, that still leaves us, so we put a little cushion in there.
You
but
know,
not, if they come down and do the study in August, and say that we need 2 full-time ambulances, then we ain't got nothing in there. We ain't got nothing. I mean, we will have to have everything on a piece of paper to look at it. And they gonna say that.
You didn't budget for the second ambulance.
No, sir, I just budgeted the way that we were running right now. I took the second ambulance out.
How much does that cost, roughly, you know? It's just a rough idea.
150. Just roughly, you know.
Huh?
we don't
Not,
have to pay.
not,
Not
not,
another truck.
the only thing that was lost is to buy ambulance, right? Yeah, we're talking about,
We're
they
talking
come
about.
back and study how 2 ships.
We're talking about.
And don't get me wrong, and I ain't trying to get in your business, but 150 would be just to put on the day shift, not counting 25 to 35,000, where that day shift ambulance goes out of town and somebody has to come in. You're not figuring any there, are you?
But the 150 should cover the second truck, the salaries for the
All right,
second
you're
truck.
talking about day and night, 24-hour shifts,
No,
or
sir.
just day?
That's just 12 hours.
Okay.
That's just,
They're not gonna do. Okay.
I'll put you 325.
That's what I was going at.
Oh, yeah.
Because when they come, you or them or nobody can tell us that most of us during the day, if you go pull your records, it ain't the same way with Preston or anybody else with emergency. Nothing happens like we planned. And so it's gonna be,
yesterday we had 1 and today we've already had 9.
one down. How many went out down today?
We on number 4 right now.
Shipping number 4 out. That's what I'm talking about.
This option 4 you have here, where does this number come from?
It's starting off with a flat budget and adding the 2 items above.
But it's no, in other words, it would be no increases on any of these budgets.
It's none of them show any increase on the existing budgets. And then each step shows if you add cost of living, how much it is and what the budget would then be. Then option 3 is with only healthcare premiums and what that would be, and option 4 is combined the 2 and what the final new budget would be.
Okay, to clarify mine, what Brad just asked you, option 1, 8,609,521, is that with the increases in the budget?
That's
No increase.
215.
That's no increase.
That's the same as it was last year,
Same.
the total.
That's the last one.
All right. Then the cost of living added to that on the next line.
That's right.
Okay, and then the bottom one is 18% insurance, or 17.54 there, and then the very bottom one down there, but there's still, the very bottom line with 8,784,749 has no increase on anybody's budget. may not have figured it this way, but 18% or 17.54, 17.5% increase. Figuring that, that's more than, would that be more than a 2% increase of the people's salaries?
Yes.
What's the question?
Okay, if the increase in the insurance price of what it's going to cost the county for a year.
Yeah, it'll be more.
It'll
Yeah,
be
they'll
more
leave out
for-
every bit of their.
If we just turn around and give them, didn't make them pay any more in insurance, it's more than the 2% the raise would be.
Right, almost double,
That's what I thought, about 4.5%.
almost double.
Not quite double, man, I did put it in my head.
61 versus 114.
Really, if they get 2%, they really ain't done it. They still ain't gonna be as much money.
Now, if we assume all the insurance,
Yeah, if we assume.
If we assume all the insurance,
But
they
if
get-
it stays
they
just
get-
like it is, they get the 4%,
yeah,
or they get the 6%.
well,
No.
leave off the raise.
Oh, okay.
All right, just go with insurance, and it's right at, 4%, 3 point something. 3, yeah, 3.6.
Right.
They get that much raise if we just assume all the insurance.
But if you assume the insurance
And-
and the
and the-
line,
and
they're
the-
gonna get it almost
It's
6.
yeah.
Did Ms. Carter ever get with your last children?
Yeah, we got it. It was in there actually.
If you look on there, too, you'll know how much it needs to cost. Just the insurance. See that line? That's just the insurance.
Yeah.
Ronnie, when y'all was figuring the budgets, did y'all figure that? Did y'all figure the insurance going up?
No, sir.
They didn't really have that number.
So did y'all figure any cost of living?
No, sir.
Neither one of them is in your budgets. So I assume they're not in anybody's problem.
Well, they didn't know how much insurance.
We'll find that out as we're working on the budget right now, and I would break it out, safest way to do it.
But you don't think anybody assumed they was gonna give their employees more money? I mean, you don't-
Not to my knowledge. But the way, here's what, the way this will work is when if we decide to do the 2%, I'll use the salaries and figure that part of their budget for them. And then they'll work from there with the others.
Right, I just don't want, if they've already figured that.
It won't matter. You see what I'm saying? When I get the final number, I will actually do the budget for healthcare and salary increase separate. So when they get it back from me, it'll have that already in the number, and then you'll have your total number and what you've got left, and then, change around wherever you feel like you need to. Rather than put that back on them to figure it. It'd just be easier that way. I think for everybody.
Let me ask you this. How long will it be before you think that we'll get a pretty close figure? What kind of revenue we'll be taking?
After 45 days.
It'll be that long?
Yeah. And that will go out to, I think it's next Friday. or next week sometime, that it goes out, and they'll have 45 days. And then we'll know.
But you'll know how much we asked him for, but we won't know if we're gonna get it, if they're gonna be appealed or not.
Right.
So why can't we just figure on, let's get that figure, give us that figure, and then like you say, split it in half, so you know you won't be able to pay.
That's what we do.
That's what you did, you know,
What he says, he knows that that half of it will take care of.
except
Option
100,
four.
yeah. But we come in with this day truck, that's gonna put another 150,000, ain't been paid.
Plus,
Yes.
could be 3 or 4.
Yeah, anything from here, I figured the very bottom rung, really, and then we have to look at what we think might come at us, and then figure what we'll have to do to get that.
Ronnie, I hate to ask this because you probably don't know it off the top of your head, but when y'all did run the other truck in the past, was your budget getting close to $1 million?
Yes, sir.
It was?
It, I can't remember the exact figure, but it was, I don't know, if Mr. Falk has that, where we,
You know, I don't know,
around what it run.
But the other truck brought in a lot of money too,
Well, that ain't nothing to do with your budget. I mean, your budget is just, I mean, what the truck brings in or what the wreck block brings in, whatever, has nothing to do with what our budget is on something like that.
you know, in the case of budget, just to make it easy, we're just trying to set spending.
though. Right.
And then, yeah, some of these things do generate some revenue, but here we're just looking at what are we gonna commit to spending wise so that we can cover it.
You know, to take in consideration too, that this option number 4, we got enough money to do it. Then I think we had either 10 or 12 departments that their budgets went up, and we hadn't figured it. As he said, that this was exactly like last year.
Exactly like last year.
And we did not know before, when I sat down on the budget, we knew what they was asking for. If it was, you know, something that could be not, I don't know that they don't need some of them, you know.
Well, that's I mean, the way, the approach that I wanted to take is you figure out what we're gonna commit to, then we'll re-divvy up the budgets according to spending. And then everybody can make their case for what else they need. And then that'll give you the final, well, we need.
So if you go ahead and divvy up now to do option 4, you're not gonna have, if all the taxes come in, about another 175,000. Then if they come across and we divvy up another 500,000, then we're gonna be 325,000 short.
Yeah, well, that means you're gonna have to ask for more. So that's where you have to go from there.
Ask for more money.
Tax money.
I ain't asking for no more tax.
Well, that's the point. I mean,
I'm not.
you have to, we have to allocate it the best we can and then allow them
I don't
to,
like it.
you know,
At this point, I mean, there's no option on health insurance. What else would you do on health insurance? I mean,
Well, I think the 2 options they are on health insurance, we said not any. I think they pay, you know, the percentage, Ms. Sherry?
23%.
23%. And at one time, up to probably 4 years ago, maybe, I'm just guessing, they never paid anything.
Right.
And we wanted the few people that let you put your whole family on.
Right.
And some people, like the city, I done a survey, I think maybe 4 years ago, and lots of counties just does it in employee. employee, and then some of them lets the family come on, but then they pay 50% of the family. And I can't remember all the numbers, but I mean, I called around to maybe 15 or 20 different ones, like the city here in Hazelhurst, they all need the person that works there. And, but we at that time come up with this 23% that they pay, where they single, and it's 600, I'm just using a round number, $650 a month, they pay 23% of the 650. If it's a family, it's 1,900 something a month, I may be off $100 one way or the other, and then they pay 23% of that. So the only two options on insurance is we assume it and pay it all, or we take and pay a portion of it and then increase the 23 to something. Is that correct? Only two options there are.
Well,
insurance.
that's, you're talking about changing what we're doing now. Well, that's not that was not really an option intended here. This is just an option to pay the extra. I mean, we pretty much have to pay the extra to continue on the same plan we are. That's how much more it's gonna cost us for the same coverage we've had in the past. So I'm not recommending anything to change how much they pay or we pay or any of that. That's not part of it. It's just, here's how much it's gonna cost to keep the same plan that we've got now, the same way we've got it now, because the insurance is just going up.
We're just gonna keep on doing that.
I think it's 1,000.
1,000 on each person, and maybe 3,000 or 5,000 on the total family. Then you got in network, and out of network.
Some more budgets have been sent in to you, everybody done sent the budget, how much are they on?
It's on those papers we had Monday. I put all the
Was it
submitted
$100
budgets.
$100 what, $90
It was about, yeah, I think so.
526, 842.
Yeah. Yeah, 526,842. Who was that on? You talking about two meals?
Just on the increase,
Yes.
not counting the insurance or 2%
That's
rate.
right.
Talking about $1 million.
That's right.
And that's 4 meals. Or roundabout.
700,000.
Okay, I own land in 3 counties. I pay more taxes in Jim Davis County than I do any other county. And my land value more in Coffee County than it is Jeff Davis. If you keep going up, if you keep increasing taxes on the property, all you doing is running businesses off. You're shooting yourself in the foot, is what you're really doing.
That's why we prepared these flags
That's
last
exactly
year.
right. That's the way I feel, I don't know about nobody else, I'll tell you how I feel.
I agree with you. You can't keep on making the homeowners and businesses pay all the expense. right about, what they get on the bill, is pretty close to 2 times what we get on the bill. It ain't quite that, but pretty close. Same thing with Coffee County. What they get out of the bill is a good bit more than what we don't get, 274.
274, 275.
Yeah, that's what it's on.
Coffee County get about 5,
Yeah, that's right at 5.
and Athens County get about 5.
Yeah.
I mean, you asked me my thoughts a while ago, and I'll tell you my thoughts. Two things we gotta have is I like to feel safe at night. The sheriff's sitting here. And I like to feel like if something goes wrong, somebody's gonna come see about it. And Ronnie's sitting there. And the other thing is, I think we need to take care of people that's working for this county. So I would say, if you want my opinion, I say we go with option 4. Keep the budgets like they are, and we'll have enough fluff that should, if we have to have another ambulance, that we can handle that.
But you gotta keep the budget just like it was last year, now, to do that.
Yeah. And we really, I can't,
Well, I mean, the sheriff ain't asking for much more.
how much?
18.
Whenever I can ask a question, I have a couple.
And probably, you know, everybody on here's got a legitimate reason why they need more money, but, you know, I'm just, that's just what I see as important. But I'm just one.
Well, this is different than anything, you know, that I, because that, when we sat down and talked before, we knew what they was asking for. Was it necessary, did we have to have it? I mean, Christie, if they go into be election this year, with the city, then she's gonna spend more money, so she's gonna have to have more. There's certain ones that I can look and tell some things happening, but all I can,
Oh, no, I thought the city was gonna pay for that.
but they gonna pay for it. But then I don't know before, because we didn't add her whole salary in. And it's added in on this budget, but then, you know, I don't know what I'm saying, if they pay for every bit of it, then they're not gonna be an increase in it. And I have-
They're gonna pay for
But then there again, we met 4 or 5 weeks ago, have you heard? Have we sent the letter, have we got it, or do y'all know the contract?
No, I don't know about that.
Carla had minutes
it. We agreed to fix it like concrete.
I can ask my questions.
I guess so.
Okay. Y'all talking about the mill there. The revenue went up, the taxes went up 2.5 mills. And Gary, you may not be as familiar with this, and some of the new commissioners, y'all help me out. That 2.5 mills was supposed to generate $675,000 estimated. From my understanding, last year, 1 mil of that was supposed to go towards the development authority to help with the pellet plant project. And I'm okay with that. My question is, do y'all know how much exactly that increase produced? Because that's an estimated amount. And if you do know, my understanding, not all that 1 mil went to the pellet plant. And we should get that same $675,000 again this year. Is there any special projects out there that y'all know of? Has that money been allotted to a special project?
That's how far they was behind to start with, Mr. Ross.
What you mean that far behind?
That's how far they like, that he balanced the budget last year. Is the reason that, or year before, whenever it was, the reason it went up. So that money was already spent. You see what I'm saying?
But that ain't the
And
way
if
it was
we-
explained when
well-
Mike Cleveland sat right in the corner of that
Well, that's the way it
desk.
is, the more it's explained out of knowledge. It's just like right now, if we take a $500,000 in consideration plus the insurance, you're looking at another $700,000. You'd have to go up another 3 or 4 million,
I understand that.
and you can't do that.
But we've got to show the citizens, and y'all are taxpayers just like I am, we've got to show the citizens where this money's being spent.
It was already spent, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Oh, I know, but they ain't gonna keep paying you out of debt.
That's right. That's exactly right.
No, we can't keep that.
But now, and I've been coming to these meetings, and I've been listening to these figures, pretty good. And, when you got, and I don't mean no offense to Mr. Gary, he's just started, but when you got an administrator like Mr. E sat right there in the corner, he threw out these $1 million that still, we looking good, we got $1 million in the general fund, Are they, y'all get a report every month? Are we waiting till the end of the year to see just how bad things are? Because I'm like Brad, we got to be protected, and we've got to have our ambulances, and I'm pushing for that second ambulance,
Well, listen.
any way possible.
It's just like Mr. Falk said, look, we was getting that report, and just like the recreation department, they was right on target, 75% of the year gone. But their biggest spending is just fixing the storm.
And I
So
think
really,
Mr.
you've
Frost,
got to do that.
I
You got
think
to
he's
do it
come up
like
with a
he's
great
talking about.
solution
That's right.
for that. A wonderful solution.
Well, I'm starting to think that that we're getting the attitude that we're broke, but we do have probably 4 months operating on hand. So, the county's not broke by any stretch. We're talking about budgets and spending and trying to
We're
make.
just trying to keep them getting back in the same
Right,
situation
right.
we was
I mean,
2 years ago.
From what I can tell, from what I've studied so far, what we're proposing here would keep us pretty solid.
We don't wanna have to get, or I don't wanna have to get back to all of a sudden getting them big tax rates. And I hear what you're saying, and a lot of that stuff I'd like to know too, and I will try to find out. Bottom line is it all goes to that one pot, and we're sitting here looking at these figures. And that one pot won't pay for what everybody's asked for in this new budget.
And insurance and increase.
No matter, including the money you're talking about. So what we're trying to decide is what we're gonna do. Because somebody ain't gonna get what they want, basically.
Right.
We know how much is not collected on last year's taxes.
It's up there, it's over 95%, I believe.
So it's over
Yeah,
95.
she's doing better than what the benchmark is.
That's excellent.
That's excellent.
95%.
90% of that.
Mr. Gary, can you tell right there off of your reports, how much money the Development Authority was budgeted last year?
It's about 60,000. It wasn't the bill you're talking
So
about.
they did not
They
never
didn't
get
get it.
the,
They thought they were gonna get it, but
well, I was told later, the reason I asked, and I'm sorry for putting you on the spot, but the reason I asked, I was told later that they did not get that money.
there was nothing from what I can find out from my little, I'm kind of finding out about this as I go, that they thought they were gonna get it, but it never was voted on, so they were just allocated some money in the budget.
And I think they need a praise report if they've been able to do what all they've done with not getting that money, they've done pretty good. Somebody's done something right.
Well, a lot of that money, as I remember, was to get that road into that Bellevue. Well,
We've done a lot of
the
that.
county's doing all that. Matter of fact, we still working on We almost there with it. So that, actually,
We had to match the
actually
labor
they
or the
using
funds to
that
do
money.
it,
Yeah.
for the grants.
Yeah.
Well, if we can keep them all like we did last year, we're gonna know for that option 4. I agree, that's what we need to do.
Where you at, Mark?
You know, I don't know, I've never been here, we had any cushion. All I've been here, we had barn power. And I kept saying one day that I thought before I left out of here, there would be some cushion. And, I think that if we take the 18% on the insurance hit this year, then, I would personally would hold off on the 2% raise. And because Mr. Cleve, Doug figured in last year, what did y'all get last year, 2%? 2% last year, and we wasn't even sure, as far as I know, we didn't know that it was coming down till it was figured in and done, and I'm glad they got it. And, but if we're gonna take up the whole amount of the insurance, then, I'd hold up on it and then see, how we get through this year. And with the ambulance, these 12 people that need some more in their budget, and, see what it is, and if it's really got to be there, and see what we could, come up with. You can't borrow yourself out of debt.
That's right, I agree with that.
We still owe some on the Bronson Highway. I think, yeah, that's right, on the spot, I think we do. I think we have one more payment.
Well, really, if we pay all the insurance, you're gonna be giving them a 4% increase.
3.79 right around it,
And a lot of them, they had to pay their insurance.
You wanna say we go with option 3, and then we need to meet with each one of these departments? Is that what you say?
That's, we need to know what they're asking for, and, that, is it really needed? We don't want, that's just like the best, and Preston's sitting there, and I'd hate it to turn down the best and somebody gets shot and killed.
Yep.
Same thing with the ambulance. When a friend of mine's mother, when they found her, and there's nothing on Ronnie's department, we only let him have 2 men over there, and I don't even know, and I'm fixing to get way off base. That guy's turned train yonder is an aggravating subject, and when they get this pellet mill really going out here, we don't know what we're gonna get into. I don't know if we're gonna have to station one in another spot across the track or what, but I looked, and that's why I know you was figuring a day while ago running, I asked, because when they come, they're gonna look at your calls, and I don't think it's gonna be just a day shift, I think it's gonna be 4 people, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, the same way with Preston could use 2 deputies sometime and need 9 sometime at the same time, same way you are. There's no way none of us can tell that. And I don't know if we would be able to, where the other city fire department is, to put some across the track or whatever, but if something was to happen across there, then there again, you gotta say, well, how you gonna get them to the hospital when you got no helicopter? But then hoping that some of the trains is out of the way or whatever, but I'm about 99% sure that when they do that survey, with the amount of calls we got, the amount of people in they smaller towns than we got, that's got 4 now. They station some of them away, if there's another little town somewhere or something, a community, not maybe a town, and where it ain't so far, but that's just my opinion.
Well, what we could do is go with number 3, and then if we got some cushion like you're talking about, you can put it in contingency, and then you can use it anyway. And then, in other words, if sheriff's department got the tide, or another department got the tide, just like we did on the van.
Well, I'm like, Wayne, we've got some areas under, of course, some of them should be, of course, things have changed. But I mean, that's what I would like to do, is go ahead and do number 3, and then talk to each individual department that's over, and get their reason. And by that time, we will know a little bit, maybe a little bit further, how much money we got. It's easier to write a check when you know how much you got.
But now Rhonda brought out a good point too. I was under the impression, and like Jerry said, that it was already spent, we was in debt. But if there was 2 meals, and just say $275,000 a meal, then that's $525. And if we hadn't given it to the development authority, then out of that million or something, that if we got 3 months, 4 months worth, okay, then, you know, is it still reflecting on there? If we took that out, you know, would it cut it in half? Roughly. What's there, the 4 months cushion we got?
Well, you're looking at running about 2.7, 2.9, 3.0.
Way, so still 2. It would just be nice for one time to sit here and not have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And
If you put it up, if you don't give them the increase, and you put it up, you can always give it to them if they get the time. I'm talking about the cost. If you use that, 2% increase in salary, and just give them the insurance, that would give them almost 4% increase. You could take the 2% and put it somewhere in the department if they got behind, if they got the time. And continue to say.
That's what option 3 is.
Yeah, I mean, and then if you know, mix it up, and for those that's got the $600 policy, and you say, okay, we're gonna give you a 2% raise, and the insurance went up, and the county's gonna send 10% of it, y'all gonna pay the 7.5%. But those that's got the $1,900 policy, it's gonna cost them. I mean, you're talking 70 and 70 and 140. It's gonna cost a lot more than that little increase. Over $140 to $160 a month. If you let them pay 7% and we pay 10%.
Yeah, I mean, I think option 3 is what.
But I
I'm
don't.
satisfied with it too.
Option 3, and let's talk to each department, so find out what they want more.
And I don't think anybody just passed it, and it might be something that they've been needing, and they can wait another year. We've always called them in before and talked with them and asked them, and, you know, said, has it got to be this year? And is it just because your printer's slow or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And talk with them and see, and then some of them said, well, you know, I got to have it. And we look at some of these budgets that goes over, then we don't need to turn around and, if it's gone over and it's not going to change in the same amount of employees that hired there, if it's in salary, then we either gotta fire somebody or put it in the budget. So,
Let's do that.
I'm fine with that. How about you?
Let's get it.
Motion.
Well, we can't.
Do that on this, or what?
Well, yeah,
I would think so.
I mean, we in a meeting, you know, but what did this meeting say we could do? I'm sorry, I haven't got that top sheet. Yeah, if we got 4 from budget workshops, so there's a workshop, that's what I want to make sure.
So Brad's made a motion that we go ahead with number 3. Need a second.
I second
All vote. Well, all this is gonna do is bring us a meeting with each department head.
That's
And
correct.
I'm sure that there's some that go through there and say, you know, yeah, I can do without this, I can do without that. If you don't meet with them, you ain't gonna know.
Right.
it. Well, there've been so many things, and,
Why can't we just talk to them and see what they can do?
Get the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, he can meet with each department head and get a detail of what they, I mean, the reason they're, if they are over, the reason they are over, because it might be like Wayne said, I mean, it may be, you know, some people got raises last year, and raises can make a big difference.
Or they won't one this year.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, that's why I asked that question, you know, did somebody figure in that, but, you know, the sheriff and Ronnie said no, so, but I don't know if everybody did, so I would say do that, I would say let's let him talk to each individual department that is open and give us a reason why.
And if he needs one of us up here, I'd be glad to come
Right,
around.
me, if I'm in town, I will too.
Two,
Yeah. All we was talking about one, he just needed somebody. Well, I'm sure he was needing somebody. And that's all I can see we can do with this now.
Well, the first thing I'm gonna have to do is, you're talking about going through all these and looking at the requests versus, you know, what we have to spend. And what I was thinking about doing is looking at what they actually spent over the last 12 months and kind of recalculating what the budget would come to, and then work from there.
That's right.
Because if you look at some of the requests, they're pretty far over what was actually spent. And basically what they did is they looked at last year's budget and then just requested more than that.
And
Now,
that's
some
what-
of them are under budget,
And that's
they
what we
didn't
want you to
spend
talk
that.
to them about.
Yeah, so.
I mean, you
But what I'm
can have
saying-
that figure and say, look, you know, you requested this, your budget last year was this, but you only spent this, so why do you want this much more money?
All right.
well, let me make sure that I'm on the right page. Nobody that is going to spend their budget asked for extra, is that correct, or some did?
They did.
They did.
Here's my point, they went by the prior year's budget, which I don't think was done. I mean, I think they could use a little tweaking. And so if they were given too much or not enough, they're over, and I'm not gonna be judgmental about that. I'm just saying, and if you look at it based on spending, I don't know how much more fair you could get, then everybody's would be exactly calculated the same exact way. So you spent X, you got X% of the money we have to spend. I don't know how much more fair you could be than that. And then work from there. What do we have to have? That's what I'm talking about.
That's unfair what he did.
Unless somebody we think just went severely over, and I don't really see that too much in looking at it.
I agree with that until it's,
So then we're at least working from a fair number, and then we'll work from there based on what's got to, you know, what they feel like they need.
Well, you got the tax assessor's office, should have a good bit of money because they're not a cheap appraiser.
But you gotta keep.
But you gotta keep the money in there.
That's right.
But then, the same way, the road department, we hadn't had the superintendent, we don't have that be under. But you got some that maybe, you know, somebody not there throwing the salary, but you gotta keep it in there when you hire somebody.
Well, we've only been without somebody for a few weeks, so it would have almost very little bearing on the
On the
budget.
road department.
And the road department's way over because we know why. So roads and rain and
Yeah,
stuff like
it's
that.
hard for the road department.
And if we have a good year, they might be somewhere we could cut because they're gonna come out a little high. So there's some adjustments like that we might make on the back end. But if we do that, we start off, everybody off at the same level playing field, really. So what we're doing is we're gonna just, the insurance premium increase, we're gonna absorb that.
yes.
But everybody will still pay the 77.23, just like they are now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just want to be clear on that.
And that would actually be here on the 3.77.
I know that, but are you saying that the increase, see, I'm looking at this as when we increase it, they'll be liable for that 23%. You're saying that the county's gonna pay this increase 100%? Is that what you're saying?
It'll take, that's where they got to use scenario what we do. You talking about taking the 23% off, the county pay 100% of all insurance?
No.
Or just the
I'm
insurance?
asking, I'm trying to figure out, because I'm a little confused about
We're
that.
gonna still stay the same way. 23.
77, but we're gonna go ahead
We pay
and,
77, they pay 23.
yeah. So they'll pay their 23% of this 17.54 increase. All right, just want to make sure.
That's the way I figured it, that's that way
So there's no raise whatsoever.
That ain't the way I figured it. I figured we was gonna pay that $114,000, and their insurance went up. I mean, if you don't, I mean, you ain't giving nothing.
Then we have to change the percent, the way we're
I mean,
paying.
that's what I voted on, build option 3, and that's what option 3 said.
Oh, that's right, that's right, I was wrong.
Yeah.
That's right. We paid $114,000 insurance,
That it went up.
then it went up, but they still paid the same amount.
But then they're gonna get the 2%.
So you're gonna have to refigure that percentage.
Yeah, that's the only way to make that
That's
work.
right.
But what I'm saying is it'll come out to the same amount.
Same
they pay
amount
now.
of money, but the percentage won't stay the same.
Right, okay, that's what you want. That's
Yeah,
what I'm trying
they'll
to
be
I wanna
paying
make
the
sure we're
same
clear on
amount of
Is
money.
that the way you had it now, Mr. Wayne?
Okay.
That's right. You see, the percentage won't be 23.77 anymore.
It'll be whatever it is. We're
That's
just
right.
trying to keep the out-of-pocket expense to the employee the same as it is this year for
That's good.
insurance.
That's good.
And that's what we'll do if we pay the $114,000.
That's right.
Or somebody that's single, they say that insurance is $600, and 24% is, so, yeah, what we're going to do. If their insurance, when their check comes out with the increase of the, amount, is not gonna show any difference in the check that they got the week before.
Right, they'll basically, whatever they've been paying, $50 a week, they'll pay $50 a week next year.
We'll calculate it. We can-
And that's basically what their raise would be, because if it wasn't, they'd have to pay
That's right.
$80 or $65, whatever the number is.
Okay. All right, I understand.
We're giving them a bigger raise by paying their insurance premium than we would if we
Right.
just
Give
give
it
them 2%
2%.
cost of living is what we're doing. Do you understand that, guys?
I'll come
You
to
got it?
when I need to.
You better do it quick, because you forgot.
Okay, that's it.
Anything else? If not,
Say it.
we can keep that. So we can go back in. Okay, now y'all get ready.
We can't, it ain't on the agenda for a second. Just on that, remember?
I understand.
To ask y'all.
Yeah, talk about it.
Good Lord, you were chasing that little boy? Did he get away from you? What happened?
Not sure, that's starting her.
Walk away.
All right, guys, y'all have a lovely evening.
It's gonna be a lot.
It's been hot.
Man, last
Okay, Lord.
Down in that cemetery.
Yesterday was Thursday.
Man, you
Look, quite hot today.
they were big. I didn't know something. I tear it off.
Don't be chasing the horn no more. You hurt the other leg, you are gonna be in trouble. Y'all have a good one.
I feel for you, I know how it feels.
Candy, you give me a.
Thank you. You told me you didn't want to wheel there.
I'm just picking at you.
I moved, and I saw that earlier, and I moved that chair over here. When you sit in that chair, the wheels are about to fall off, so I said, that's why Brad's changed chairs.
I can talk, come here, I can talk to two of y'all, come here.
Two of us?
I can talk to two.
Alright,
Not for them, okay?
that's right.
Question. You brought up the comment that when we pay the income, it don't matter whether it's a single person or family policy.
We got a single person, then we got a single person married, and then we got a family policy. They three different, yes ma'am.
Okay, now, and I'm like you, I want to be fair to all my employees. 'Cause without your employees, you got
Well, them is $1,900.
They're
They
getting
get,
a bigger, they're actually getting a bigger raise.
a bigger raise or just being paid on the insurance. And I,
Is that
and I
fair,
figured it goes like
Is
my,
that-
my
I don't know,
insurance.
I'm asking y'all, that's not.
Well, when they were, like he said, several years ago, they were getting all of them.
Yeah.
And the commissioners changed it to 23%, so that's already been voted on and approved. You know, we'd have to change
If
it.
you go back and look, I told them that night,
Yeah, there was a big, I remember
So
that
that's
being
the
a
biggest
whole big
thing,
thing.
yeah, I mean,
But
they
then,
all,
you know,
they hard develop me and this, that, and the other, but they don't let me up here anyway, but that's all right, but anyway, what I
I
said,
do.
well, something we do then, right? But I told them, I said, somebody $600, and we really owe that $600 man or woman that's working for us. That's what the city does, and they pay it. I said, then Wayne Holmes had his wife on there, it's $1,000. Y'all don't know my wife, nothing. Okay, but it costs that $600 man 6 times 150 less 6, $144. Or it cost me $230-something, 23% of 1,000. I'm just using round. Or that $1,800 person with a man, a wife, and 4 youngers, or 3, 2, whatever.
Right, because it's a family.
It's a family policy. Then it costs them more, but we paying 3 times what we are that employee that we really owe. But then what's gonna happen, and I looked at this, and I prayed about this thing a lot of times. What's gonna happen? What if it's a divorced woman? Now, I'm just using this. And it comes to me, you see it start making me tear up. And she had 2 young ones. And I'm gonna sit up here and do that. And she can't, and then she's gonna get garnished. I mean, I thought.
That's what I think too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because
Look at
because that
it.
married man
Yeah.
and that single man are both making basically the same thing.
And believe me, we got some over.
But he's got more to take care of.
We got more, we got some road part of it, got a wife and him and 2 young. So you see what I'm saying? But no, it's not.
Nah.
But then you can't start turning around and saying, do 23 on single, 29 on.
What happened to my help? Y'all help me, y'all.